Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. We are going to be moving into the fashion segment of this channel because I know I've been, shoving my Apple Watch in everybody's faces. So before I get into the whole like coming up with looks and stuff like that, I just wanted to talk about something in fashion that has been on my mind lately due to an incident that happened with Shein. I don't know, it just had me thinking like all this stuff I buy, because I consider myself a shopaholic. She's worse than me. Yeah, she is. And like all I do is buy, but I never really worry about all the stuff that I buy. So I decided to look into this thing called sustainable fashion. So basically what sustainable fashion is, it's according to Google, a movement and process of fostering change in the fashion world through the products, which are the clothes, and the idea of fashion itself. And there's also fast fashion. That's basically obviously the opposite of sustainable or slow fashion, and that is basically cheap and trendy clothing that samples ideas from the catwalk or celebrity culture and turns them into garments that are made to the public. All the Pretty Little Thing, all the Fashion Nova, all that stuff. So the consequences of fast fashion. Fast fashion itself makes shopping for clothes very, very affordable, but it really comes at an environmental cost. Fashion industry actually produces about 10% of all humanity's carbon emissions, and obviously if you do believe in climate change, that is like a really, really big deal. It is also the second largest consumer of the world's water supply and pollutes the oceans with microplastics. And also one of the biggest things, the people that are actually making these garments are not paid very well. I want to talk about sustainable fashion and how it's something that I feel like everyone should get into, but today I'm going to be talking about why fast fashion is going to be something that's going to keep going and something that you can't really get rid of. One, why do we shop fast fashion? It's because it's a way for us to kind of engage in like celebrity culture. Back then, before fast fashion became a thing, when you saw like people like, for example, I'm just gonna bring up Kylie Jenner. If it was back then, all the stuff that she wore, you wouldn't see this in stores because it's mostly usually designer or something like that. But nowadays, when you see something on the catwalk at a show, there's a high chance shops like PLT or Fashion Nova are gonna like, it's gonna be something that they make. You're gonna see that in their stores like literally probably the next week, because they see what people are into and then they make that, and that becomes a trend. We all want to feel like we're dressing like celebrities. We all want to feel that high of like, oh, I'm just like them, they're equal to me. So you're gonna want to shop and get these things that they have too, because it makes you feel better, Well, we're basically gonna get into what this video topic is about, and it's why we cannot cancel fast fashion. So there are three parts to this: size, style, and affordability. When I was like doing this research, these are the three things that always came up. Affordability being the biggest thing. So for size, one of the reasons why I feel like fast fashion is something that we can't cancel is because it's sometimes hard to find your size in fast fashion itself. Maybe a few years ago, plus size fashion was introduced because everyone started complaining, saying, how are you making clothes for girls that are size 0? And then there's us. Like, it's not fair.
I just want to say for public record, this is an ant that's like literally like smaller than her pinky toe.
Why are we outside?
My friend, you have me outside now.
So yeah, it was just back then, plus size was just like not a thing until people started talking about it. So imagine sustainable fashion. The material that is being used is a lot more expensive, obviously, because now they're using eco-friendly materials, and because of the material that they're using, some sustainable fashion brands do not want to spend more money. So nowadays you see a lot more brands focusing on plus size fashion, but before, a little bit, not even just recently, a lot of brands were like, we don't want to do this because the money that goes into this is a lot more. So the more they charge, the more the clothes are going to cost. When it comes to size, like sustainable fashion is there and it's getting better, but fast fashion is still ways ahead from sustainable fashion.
When you see women walking around every day, women have so many different sizes and shapes, and I feel like sometimes some media portrayal of women is very standard, sometimes because of body image and how we see these influencers and all these celebrities having what is deemed to be the perfect body size. There's no perfect body size, but or body shape. Fast fashion, I think, definitely has a plus in a way, because there's so much more range when it comes to offering like from size extra small to like extra large and all that. So definitely takes away that discomfort of having to be in the stores and not being able to find anything that fits you correctly. And even though the body on the website does not come with the article of clothing, it's easier to kind of just gauge around what you're seeing and just adapting it for yourself. Sometimes, you know, you're in the stores and you're just like, I don't feel comfortable, there's so many people watching me, is this even for me? And there's maybe not even that many options once again, because what's on display in the store is not revealing of like what's actually on the website. So like Pretty Little Thing, Boohoo, Fashion Nova and stuff, it's just so easy to go on there, click and just pick your size. So I will say fast fashion definitely wins on that, but once again, like that mass production and everything, is it really better? No. If sustainable fashion were to go towards that way, where they were offering more options for all women and all men of all body types, then I think there could definitely be like a plus in that industry, like a real breakthrough. Yeah.
Next, we are going to be talking about style. So if you're looking for a specific style in sustainable fashion, something that I've seen, because I decided to go through a few websites that have to do with sustainable fashion. Yeah, the styles are there. Like some of the stuff that I would wear, I see it on the site. But when it comes to the color range, it's not, to me, it's not the best.
It's very minimalist.
Yeah, very, very minimalist. You see a lot of black, whites, nude, gray,
olives, gray, all of those, like the very like the minimal range and stuff. If you're like a more colorful person, I will say sustainable fashion is not necessarily like for you, at least not yet.
Yeah, I mean, on the websites, they're not for you. Another way of sustainable fashion is thrifting. Maybe you may find your color there. Yeah, so when it comes to the style, there's not really a full range of like stuff you want. And I feel like our generation, my generation, the sustainable clothing that they wear is not what people wear. You see what the Fashion Novas, the PLTs, all that stuff. I'm not saying those clothes are ugly or like you shouldn't wear them. Those clothes are cute. I also in a way kind of dress like that. So sustainable fashion has to move into that.
It's definitely, I feel like there's definitely like a lot of mainstream appearance. I feel like fast fashion kind of takes away like the originality of everybody's style, but then again, you can easily just combine different pieces that you're getting from fast fashion to make your own unique style. But once again, like she said, like when it comes to like styling in itself, sustainable fashion is more unique. I would say you can find like in those neutral color schemes and stuff, you can kind of find like more specific things rather than just like being on Boohoo, PLT, and just finding like the same kind of article of clothing, just different colors and textures.
Next, we're gonna talk about affordability. This is the biggest thing for me in sustainable fashion. I feel like if you want this entire movement to work, this is something that you have to fix and hit, because this is the basis of everything, in my opinion. Yes, style, yes, size, but if I can't afford it, why would I even want to look at it, you know? As we know, most of the sustainable fashion we see is very expensive. I read like, not to call out reformation, but I'm calling out reformation. I understand the fabric that you're using or the materials are expensive, but I went on that site and I was like excited because I was like, wow, I'm about to look into sustainable fashion. I'm about to start dressing, you know, all like looking eco-friendly, all that. No, the dress was $198. I'm gonna keep bringing this up because it scarred me, because that dress was beautiful, but I cannot wear it. Why? Because I would have to like save up for one dress. I could go to Boohoo or PLT and $200, that's like 30 pieces of clothing right there. When you are spending more money, the material is going to be better. It is going to last you longer. That's one of the reasons why sustainable fashion is becoming a thing, because it's going to help the environment if it's lasting longer. The only thing with that is when you have people that are not able to afford a $198 dress, they're going to look into the cheap side of things, because guess what? Cheap to them is something that they can get right now. They can worry about if the clothing ends up being deteriorating or something like that, they're going to go buy another one because they know that, oh, this is the price, versus me waiting for a $198 dress. So yeah, that makes sense.
It's really like consumerist mindset, to be honest. Like, you know, like yes, that $198, you're gonna be like, okay, it's an investment, but I feel like saying I'm investing $198 into a piece of clothing versus like I'm investing $198 into like something more valuable, like towards a new phone, towards a camera, towards whatever, versus like just one piece of clothing. Like nowadays we don't really think that like that one piece of clothing is worth it, unless like, you know, you're collecting or you're like very wealthy, that like that 190 is nothing for you, which honestly, if it is, God bless you, and that's good. We're hoping to be at some point in that bracket, but
Right.
but as of right
really.
now, like, you know, at such a young age where it's like that's probably what people making like 1 or 2 days of work, you wouldn't want to spend all that money back in just one piece of clothing. So I feel like kind of defeats the purpose of like wanting to do better, because it's just not attainable for all.
Yeah, there's a certain bracket, and it's not in the bracket that fast fashion is aimed towards, in my opinion. Going into the biggest, one of the biggest things, which is affordability, is also, if you want sustainable fashion to be a thing, it needs to be a thing for all people, aka one of the peoples that fast fashion looks towards, and the people that sustainable fashion doesn't work for is low-income families. A lot of families, when it comes to what they want to wear, they don't worry about, oh, how is this going to affect the environment? Oh, how long is this going to last? They just worry about, oh, I need to get something, I need to get it cheap, and I need to get it now. If you have sustainable fashion costing so much money, it's going to be hard for anyone to fight for the environment in a sustainable mindset, because now they're not able to get the thing. I mean, yeah, there's thrifting. Go to the thrift store, and you can get things at cheaper prices. I mean, now,
but still, like, I feel like nowadays thrifting is changing a lot. Like a few years back, like I would be able to go into Goodwill, Savers, and yes, we shop there because it's like great finds and all that, and be able to find like, you know, pairs of pants for like $1 or $2. And now I'm going to the same stores and it's like $15 and all that. Like, it's still not bad at all, but like, because of how quick mass production of clothing is, because of fast fashion, like thrifting in itself is kind of like defeating the purpose of what it was originally, which was to be like eco-friendly. Now, especially in the pandemic, where it's like you have everybody at home kind of just like doing their spring cleaning and just going over their clothes, where it's like many stores like Goodwill, Savers, Salvation Army and stuff are complaining of having surplus of donations, where it's like now they're kind of like those big chains, and so just have to put so many clothes on their rug and throw away quite a few, because people are getting rid of like what they don't want, which is not necessarily good quality to begin with. The next person can't really wear that, even if it's at a discounted price. So now we're just having like a whole mass of clothing articles just being dumped we don't know where, and in the meantime people are still buying into fast fashion because they're replenishing what they just threw away.
Exactly. And like, kind of going off what she said, I went to Savers. I remember going to Savers. This has always stuck with me. This, like, I thrift a lot, and I'm not saying thrifting is a bad thing. I'm always gonna focus on thrifting because I feel like it's one of the best ways to, like, in a way, kind of curb the whole fast fashion thing, because now you're not buying more of that fast fashion. You're just reusing what anyone else has. I remember going to a Savers one day. I was shopping like I normally do. I remember hitting my first $15 dress, and I was just like, $15 for a dress? Why am I gonna pay $15 for a dress? Luckily, it was a 50% off day. Even so, I didn't buy that dress because imagine walking to a
You could have gotten that same $15 dress like on the website.
Exactly.
For, like, a fast fashion.
Exactly.
Like, at that point, you're just like, why don't I just buy this?
Exactly. Like me, buy $15 dress at Savers. Stop right there. And then I walked to the suit aisle because I'm a blazer person. I collect blazers. There was a $119 blazer at Savers, and I was so confused. I was like, what? How did you like type that price in, stick it to the blazer, and put it there? I've seen designer stuff, $400 designer stuff, and I bought them for $5. You're not gonna tell me to buy a $119 blazer from Savers. Not to say, oh, Savers this, Savers that, but it's a thrift store. And going off that also, we are into that realm where a lot of people are into vintage stuff. Vintage stuff usually comes from thrift stores. Vintage stuff now costs so much money. You would think, oh, for example, that I remember I went to a thrift store and I found a Tommy Hilfiger jean jacket for $10. That's one of my best finds because Tommy Hilfiger. I went online to Depop. I saw the same jacket. Someone had it for $80. Not to shit on someone's business or anything, but I feel like if you're going to be selling secondhand stuff, why do you have to have it be so expensive? I understand it's vintage. This whole like vintage movement that went on and everything, it kind of like kills the whole vibe, because I want to be able to get this stuff, but I can't get it because it itself is also custom. It also costs so much money.
Depop is like the online like reseller. You know how people
Yes.
are reselling sneakers, like they're buying it for like 200, trying to sell it back for like 18.
Yeah, I was on there and I was looking at sneakers because I was like, oh, I want a new pair of sneakers. Bro!
And my thing is, yes, it's some certain clothing pieces and all that, if it's like from those Dior, Chanel, like back then collections, it's like if somebody walked with it on the runway, like was sort of like something famous. Yes, those are like nice collectible if it's like pure designer. But like nowadays, I feel like Tommy Hilfiger, I'm sorry, but we've seen everybody wearing them boxers, and like bras for like, and now it's like so mainstream that like the actual price of that in store is not that expensive because everybody's wearing it, so they're producing it more. And then you want to sell that same jacket for $80 when like I could easily go to a store and buy it for like what, like $25, $30.
And then going off thrifting again, all my life I've always thrifted. Like sometimes going to the thrift store, you can find other clothes with this of the same material at a cheaper price. So why wouldn't you want to thrift? But back then, and y'all cannot say, I know for a fact some of y'all done did this. Not to call anybody out, but I'm looking kind of calling you out. If you found out someone was wearing secondhand clothing back then, people talked crap about them, or like they made fun of them for that. So it's like some people, they still have that fear in mind of like when they used to wear like thrifted clothes and everything, and how people used to make fun of them. Some people do not feel comfortable going thrifting because they don't want to wear someone's clothing, or they just have bad memories with thrifting. And it kind of sucks because I feel like it's one of the best ways, especially if you're low income, to actually be able to go into more of the sustainability realm.
But once again, that's like, can I even say this is gentrified? Because like back then it was really like looked down upon to like use secondhand clothing, but now it's like hype culture. Everybody talks bad on those kids, and like myself included, like I've always thrifted if I could, and now to just see how people took that back and like made it so cool, go apologize to the kids you bullied back then.
Right.
Go apologize now.
Right. And some people can't really have that because they were made fun of for having that in the first place.